Dr. Ruth Anderson, founder of Enlightened World. I am so excited today to have with me Linda Patten, the author of No One Stood When I Walked Into the Room. And first, I'm just going to make sure that we're actually live here.
And it says live on my screen.
Okay, well then, yeah, I don't want to just take the risk.
Okay.
I've done enough of these to know that sometimes so there, it looks like we are.
Great.
Here we are. Love it. Okay. So, Linda, let's just chat with you a little bit. Today is the launch.
It is, and it launches on Kindle, and it's up now on Amazon Kindle, and it's only $1 for the next 24 hours. And so I am just so excited to get this into every woman's hand because it truly is a book that's needed right now.
So you already had big news today about how it was doing.
I do. I was informed that it has hit bestseller status in, I believe, 3 categories. I'm not sure exactly which ones those are. And I am just so excited to just keep it going and to really see how far we can actually make this book popular among women who aspire to be leaders, who are leaders, who wish they could be leaders, and for all ages. I mean, I think this is the power of it as well. It's fantastic for the millennials. I have a whole chapter on how to lead millennials and what they're asking for, as well as for those of us who are perhaps a bit more sage and wise and would like another look at leadership.
So I just have to tell you, while you were talking, Linda, I can see your spirit guides like cheering. They're like jumping up and down and cheering with the news of the bestseller status. So
yes,
congratulations.
Thank you. I was thrilled. I mean, you've written books, Dr. Ruth, and you know that, you put your heart and soul into the book, and it's your baby, and, you're going to give birth to it and all of that. But once it sort of leaves your hands and it's now in the hands of the world, there's just that little bit of fear and a little bit of anxiety that says, will anybody else like it? Will they find value in it? Is this really meant for them? And I know I felt that way this week as I began to let go of it. And it was like, whoa, is the world really ready for it? And are they going to find value in it? And so far with the bestseller status, I can honestly say people are finding value in the book. And I think the funny thing is every time I would mention it to somebody, so I like to see the book's coming out on the 24th, I'd say, they'd say, well, what's the title? And I go, No One Stood Up When I Entered the Room. I go, oh God, I have to read that. The title alone intrigues me and I want to see what it's about. So I'm really excited to get this into the hands of light workers and leaders and just women who are being women. I think it's so very needed.
So I have to tell you, anybody who's watching, Linda had shared her book with me at a crazy time for me,
yes.
time-wise. And I could not fit it into my schedule to read it. And as I was reading through it, and I'm getting goosebumps, Linda, just telling you this.
Yeah.
I was reading your book today, as a matter of fact. I thought, this is why I didn't read it before, because I needed to read it today. There's messages in it that are perfect for where I am today in life. And had I read it a month ago when you gave it to me, I would be missing this opportunity right now of finding the aha, because it didn't fit me then. So yes, you have passed it into the world, and the women that need to read it are going to get it.
Absolutely. And I just got chills from what you said. I honor you. I've so been blessed to have you in my life and the things that we've been able to do together. And your compliment, your review, in essence, just now really means the world to me. So thank you so much.
Well, and I will write it up for Amazon because that's important.
Yes,
absolutely. I'm happy to do that. But a couple of the things that you said, You said visibility accelerates your impact.
Say that again.
Visibility accelerates your impact. And
Just
visibility, I know
visible. There we
there's a lot of noise where you are.
go. Yeah.
Yep. Visibility accelerates your impact. So continuing to put yourself out into the world and continuing to come to the table, show up, get your voice out, get your face out, get your message out. All of those things accelerate your impact.
Yes, as I said in the book, I have had a coach, Ann Evanston, who says that money follows visibility, and that in order to impact the world and to gain the remuneration that you're looking for, you have to be visible. And I had told her when we first started to coach, I don't do visibility. I don't do social media. And I've told her all the things I didn't do. In the space of the first year, I had done everything that was on that list to be visible, other than the 9 posts a day that you wanted me to do on social media. I went, that's not happening. But still, to be out there doing Facebook Lives, which is something I said I'd never do, um, you know, the posts, the videos, the speaking engagements, just everywhere I went. I went to a quilt show on Sunday, and as I'm wandering around, I'm promoting the book to different people that I've either purchased something with, or I was really excited about their quilts or whatever. They're all going, "Wow, great! I'd love to do that." I said, "Just go on Amazon on October 24th, Google, no one stood up, and it'll pop right up." And I thought, I would have never done that. I'm doing an hour-long podcast this evening about likability, and how likability is gauged differently between men and women. And we're talking specifically, I think, about politics, but it's the same sort of thing. We as women are treated differently. We're seen differently. Our gender heritage says, you don't do this. You are behind the scenes. You are the one who is supporting someone else. And I want us all to be out there and visible and loud and proud, as they say, because I think it's important for us, if we're going to change the world, that we have to be visible.
Right. And you talked about the reluctant leaders and
Yes.
women as reluctant leaders. And you talked about making a movement your business. And then
Mm-hmm.
you've got the disclaimer there for some women and some men too. I don't have time to create a movement.
Yeah.
And you and I both know that in order to change your life, change the world, you have to make time to create a movement. It's not an option anymore to just sit
No.
back and let other people create the world.
And Dr. Ruth, I think that's seen very clearly by who got elected as president in the last election. We sat back and, okay, maybe we didn't particularly like Hillary, but of the two options, to me, she was the better option. She was the one that I felt would carry us forward in a more positive way. And without all this angst that we've got. We've got a president who says really strange things and gets away with it. I mean, I still love the fact that he wanted to change the trajectory of the hurricane so that it would go over Alabama so he'd be right. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry. And so I love the fact that midterm elections were so powerful, and we brought more women into elected office. We need to maintain that momentum, and in order to see the kinds of changes that we need to see there, and also in the movements that we're trying to foster, and with homelessness and clean water, food, whatever it might be, we need to get out there and make those happen. Now, the one thing that worries me a bit is that we've got all these little pods of movements. Somebody's doing something about homeless in Oakland, somebody's doing something in Redwood City, whatever they might be. And we're not getting the economies of scale. We're not coming together as movement leaders and saying, so what are you doing? How can we work together? And that kind of thing. We're very much siloing, which again is something that women tend to do. We do it on our own. And I want to encourage women to find out who else is doing this in my area and how can we do stuff together, because we're more powerful as a team than we are individually.
Absolutely. And, one of the chapters that surprised me, Linda, was
Yes.
the chapter where you talk about the M word, which is money, and
Yes.
all of our relationships with money. And if we can't get that relationship into a healthy place, how can we possibly make money in our businesses?
Exactly. And Dr. Ruth, you know that I have a council of guides
Mhm.
who, as you said, were cheering me on. And they've been really clear. We started out, you'll appreciate this, we started out as a board of directors, which is very, very masculine. And as the book was being written, they said, we want to change our name. We want to be a council of, at that point, it was a council of 7. And then they said, but we want to add the people, the goddesses who hold up your temple. So we'll add those 4. So we were now in a council of 11. And I said, well, I have 2 totem animals. How about them? And they go, no, that would make 13. So we're going to leave them as a +2. Okay. But recently, like in the last 2 months, they've encouraged me. When I wrote the article for your book, they said, we want to add money to the table. We want to bring him in so that we can all dance with him in a close personal way. Because so often for me, money gets pushed in a corner. In Dirty Dancing, they said, you can't put baby in a corner. Well, I put money in a corner and said, I'll deal with you later. And when I do that, I see a severe decline in the money coming in and an increase in the money going out. And I didn't want that anymore. We need to, as Anna Winston also said, is we need to woo money like a lover, and to truly have that kind of a relationship with it. And so having brought it onto the council, he has so many wise things to say about what we're doing next. And I'm sitting there going, I have no idea where we're going next. I mean, the book, it's one of those things, the book's done. It's like, okay, well, what's next? I don't know. Do I mentor? Do I teach? Do I do a webinar? What do I do? And he was the one who said, let's do a survey. Let's go out to your world and say, I'm looking for the next step. What would serve you? And have a list of possibilities and see what people say. And I thought, what a brilliant thing to do. Why create something without knowing that your community, your tribe, your troop is interested in that and would see that as a great next step?
That's exciting. I will be
Yeah.
looking forward to getting that survey.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't want to be a spoiler alert here, but part of the book is about confluential leadership. Do you want to take just a quick minute and share a little about that?
Would love to. As you can tell from the title, the subtitle, it's about command, which is the masculine side of leadership. It's the telling, it's the structure, it's the organization, it's the strategy, but it's also the competition. And in some cases, it's the greed that we see in leadership. And there's usually, you brook no questions. And I so agree that there's a need for command in places like first responders. I would not want to be a firefighter if people didn't listen to me when I said, we're going out that door. They go, no, let's go to this, it's like, no, you follow me because I know what I'm doing. Police, same thing. When they're in an emergency situation, you want to follow them. You don't want to question, where are we going? And military is the same thing. What I have found interesting, though, is recently watching SWAT episodes and this kind of thing, to see them strategize up front and to get all of the input from the people on the team before they set the strategy. Once the strategy is set, that's what they do, which I think is very, very interesting. So they have begun to incorporate a bit of that influence, which is the feminine side. So we have command, we have influence, which are all the feminine qualities, you know, the empathy, the compassion, the collaboration, the cooperation, all of that. And the creativity is there. But neither one alone is enough. And so in my workshop, Awaken the Leader, I asked my participants, I said, what could we call this marriage of the masculine and the feminine in such a way that it brings out both characteristics? And so we got all sorts of wonderful ideas, but the one that really struck was confluence, which is what rivers do. There's a confluence of the rivers, a coming together. And I said, yes, but we're going to use the first three letters of command. And so it became confluential. And it's the marriage of the masculine and the feminine. It is the best of both of those leadership styles. And it's what we need to become. We as women, we lead with all the creativity and the influence and what we do. But without the masculine supporting us in organization, structure, and strategy, we're missing a huge piece. So we need both, which is why the cover art, the inside cover art of the man and woman dancing and him holding her up, that's how I see the relationship of the masculine and the feminine in leadership.
Well, Linda, I hope you're proud of
I am.
the product that you have put out into the world, because it really will be helpful to women in particular who take the time to purchase it and read it. And as you said, it's available on Kindle $1 for a very limited time.
Yep, 24 to 48 hours. The sooner you do it, the better. Something else, Dr. Ruth, that I'd like to mention, one of my reviewers actually two of my reviewers were gentlemen, but Corey Center said something that was very powerful in his review, and that was, every man should read this book as well. It has power and information that we need to truly lead. And I thought that that was so, I mean, I was just touched that he said that. You know, he's a very strong masculine man, but to have him feel in the book the power of the confluential leader just blew me away.
That's so exciting. Well, I am so proud of you, Linda, and looking very forward to seeing where your next steps are. And we're going to be right behind you as you're taking this. So thank you for being here with us today. Do you have anything else that you want to share with our listeners today?
No, all I want to say is I want you all to step up, step out, and lean into your confluential leadership and truly be out there and changing the world. So thank you, Dr. Ruth, so very much. I was honored to be on the show with you.
Oh, it's our honor to have you with us. So thank you, everybody. Do take a look, check it out on Amazon, and it's Linda Patten's No One Stood When I Walked in the Room. Right? Did I get it right? No
Right.
one stood when I walked in the
Here
room.
we go.
You got it for us? Perfect. No one stood up when I entered the room. Linda Patten, #1 international best-selling author. Look at that. All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care and God bless.
Bye-bye.